Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Joining Me Today podcast, hosted by me, Bailey Ewer Smith, a guy who's actually not wearing a black t-shirt for once. It's a miracle. Today, I'm going to be joined by another fantastic guest and stuff. I'm so excited to jump into this episode, the seventh episode now. I can't believe I've come this far, and I hope we get many more. But anyway, as with every episode, I like to do a song recommendation and stuff. And today's song recommendation is going to this is genuinely my recommendation. I've actually got quite a bit into Ariana Grande recently and stuff. That's no lie, that's totally honest. And I'm actually going to recommend the song No Tears Left to Cry by Ariana Grande because it's genuinely one of the best pop songs from the late 2010s. It's fantastic. I really like and stuff the sort of beats in the background and stuff. I think Ariana Grande's voice is used and stuff like that to its fullest potential there. You guys should definitely go check it out. But anyway, jumping now straight into the interview, I have motivational speaker, I have social media influencer, an all around fantastic guy. Welcome to the show, Kamal. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I'm honored to have you. You're a fantastic guy. I love having fantastic guests. It's what this podcast is all about. So I'm just going to jump straight in and stuff. I ask this with every guest. You've
Yep.
been on the call. You've seen that I've done my song recommendation. Now I'm going to throw the question to yourself. So what would be your song recommendation to the listeners?
My song recommendation would have to be Patience. It's called Patience by Nas and Damian Marley. Damian Marley is the son of Bob Marley, great musician. And this song asks a lot of questions that just make you think, like the
Hmm.
way they've put it together. And they make you think about where we're moving as a society versus what we prioritize. It's fascinating. I think the opening line that gets me, he says, some of the smartest dummies can't read the language of Egyptian mummies. We put a flag on the moon, but we can't find food for the starving tummies. It's like just,
Hmm.
and you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, what a great point. We've gone to the moon, yet we still got people who haven't got enough food. How do we prioritize progress? And yeah, and it's just the whole track is that back to back. Nas comes in, he's like, who wrote the Bible? Who wrote the Quran? And like he just so many questions that are just interesting for a bit of soul searching and changing your perspective. So yeah, definitely Patience by Nas and Damian Marley.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic song. I always like a song and stuff where it goes like more sort of deep. It's not just like empty lyrics. Like it's like, no, I'm using my platform to send a message out there and stuff. And we,
Exactly.
we always love songs like that. So you guys should definitely go check that song out. It sounds pretty
I
cool to
highly
me.
recommend. Highly recommend.
So yeah, I'd like to jump straight in and stuff with the first question. Obviously, like I said in that introduction, you're a motivational speaker, and stuff. That's the majority of the work you do, and you do work sort of around that field. But how did you get into all of this? Like what you're doing now? How did it all come about?
Yeah, so if I go back to school days, I remember sort of having this experience where my parents were always able to come to like school plays and things like that, which I massively took for granted at the time. And then would turn to a friend and be like, "Oh, how come your parents aren't here?" And they'd be like, "Oh, they're at work." And I was sort of like, "Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean?" Because my parents were always had their own businesses running, so it never felt like they were at work. It was like, "Oh, we're going to the music shop, we're going to the market to sell records," and so it was always just so fun. And I saw this like entrepreneurial vibe that they had and the options and the freedoms it created and thought, I'd love to do that. And they were always really positive. It was like, hey, you can go and do anything you put your mind to. There was a lot of freedom to go and just give things a try and not worry about failing. Then I looked around and saw some friends had that experience, some had the complete opposite. And I thought, well, how is that fair? Like, I didn't choose these parents. I've done nothing to earn having parents that support me like that. That's nothing to do with me. That's just luck. And I don't believe in luck. But when it comes to like where you're born, who you're born to, I think that is complete and utter luck. So it's like, right, how do I give some of this to other people so that we can all at least get some kind of level input of positivity, of self-belief, of someone just taking a bit of time out of their day and say, hey, I think you're pretty amazing. I think you could go and achieve that thing that you're scared to go for. and just change perspectives. And that became the goal. So started out as youth MP, hated politics, loved the impact, decided, you know what, this isn't for me. Let me start speaking in my local area because I carried the Olympic torch. And someone said, you're pretty good at this. You could actually do this as a real business. And I was like, don't be silly. You can't get paid to speak. Did an unofficial apprenticeship with a guy called Jackson who was smashing it in the industry. Learned the ropes, worked for him for a while, and then set up my own company and started as a sole trader. My wife came in, we created a business, and now we're doing it all over the UK. But it just started initially really out of a feeling of this isn't fair. How do we level the playing field a bit? How do we raise everyone's aspirations regardless of the circumstances they were born into? And this is the most direct way I know how to do it.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic and stuff like sentiment, like, you know, especially what you were saying about sort of how like a lot of the world and stuff like that is sort of about like luck, sort of, you know, the cards you're dealt. And so whether that be sort of, you know, the area you're sort of grown up in, or sort of, you know, what sort of social class and stuff like that, what sort of wealth class and stuff your parents are a part of. But sort of you want to sort of be like, no, but you can still like get your goals. You can still reach these levels, you know, no matter sort of what and stuff like that. And now I think that's a really beautiful sentiment. And I think in the world and stuff, we especially need stuff like that now, you know, like, you know, people might sort of think like, you know, oh, and this kind of leads into the second question. So I'd like to ask yourself is that many people would hear like motivational speakers, they come into work and school and they'd be like, oh, here we go. Yeah, 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Now we've got to sit
oh,
here. What, how do you sort of feel about sort of when you'll get like kids, for instance, like if they hear and stuff, they got a motivational speaker and they might sort of go, oh, I'm going to go through this, whatever. And how do you feel like when they come out and they're like, I love this. This was amazing.
When I get that first reaction, I say, yeah, you're 100% right. I completely agree. Motivational speakers are such a luxury to have, and they're not necessary. And half of them, I don't even like what they're saying. So I get it. In fact, part of the reason I became a speaker is because I was so into the whole personal development, motivational space as a young person. And I showed my mates, they were like, what is this? Who is this guy? He doesn't get it. And I was like, yeah, maybe he doesn't, but like what he's saying, we could still apply. So I thought, well, there needs to be a translator, doesn't there? There needs to be someone who is accessible to young people, saying positive things, but not in a look at me, big me, little you kind of way. So I take zero offense to like the initial, oh, great, here we go. And that's my job. My job is for the first 20 minutes to win you over, to let you know what this session's going to be. I've got no sob story like most motivational speakers. I haven't got this big tragic, I was shot 9 times and then the 10th time I started a business and I cured cancer. Like I haven't got, there's no sob story, because I used to hate sob stories. These speakers would come in and be like, oh, this tragic thing happened. And I'm sat there like, bro, I just want to cry. Like, how is this motivational? One, I can't relate because I've never been through anything particularly tragic. So already I feel like if that's what it took for you to get there, I'm just waiting for my tragedy then. Like, right, where is it? As soon as something bad happens, that's when this will click into gear. And it just sends the wrong message. So for me, it was like, one, there's no sob story. It's just about decent choices and how that can help. And two, you're gonna laugh. I think I learn best when I'm laughing. I used to be on the circuit with a different group of speakers, loads of different styles. One of them really took pride in how many people you could make cry in a speech. They were, oh, I've got them to cry today. And it would be like a genuine celebration. And it just hit me after a while of going, why? Why do we want to tell stories so strong and so emotive that people cry in order to make a change in their life? I don't think it's necessary. I learn best when I'm laughing, when I'm having a good time, when it doesn't feel like I'm learning, when it feels like we're just having a laugh, having a chat. I used to not watch the news. I just watch comedy shows that talk about the news. Because one, I thought they were more honest. And two, it was funny. So I'm learning about the news. I'm hearing what's going on, but I'm laughing the entire time. So for me, I adopted that style. So in my sessions, we're going to laugh. It's a lot of laughter. A lot of, I tell a few stories of like failures, but they're not these failures that are tragic. It's, I got dropped from my school football team. The ball smacked me in the face. I got dizzy. They dropped me. I tried rugby and I failed because 4 guys were running at me and I was like, no, thank you. Drop the ball. You know, I had a job that I left because they asked me to pick up poo, and I was like, this isn't what I signed up for. I'm at a bowling alley. Why am I being asked to pick up food? So it's just funny, relatable stories that aren't a million miles away from your reality right now. You can imagine getting your first job in a bowling alley. It's not what these hustlers are talking about on Instagram. We can all probably get a job in a bowling alley. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's more about that. How do we create a relationship, a communication style that lets you be comfortable, lets you have a laugh, lets you know I'm not taking myself too seriously either, because I have a rule: you can ask me anything, and students do, and I'll answer. And that I'm not here because I'm better than you. I'm here because I'm older than you, to be honest. And I've made some good decisions over that time frame that have got me to a nice place now at the age of 28. So I'm going to share some ideas with you that help me go from kid with potential to bigger kid with some decent results, and give it a try. And I say to them, try it. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, message me. Say, Kamal, you're an idiot. I completely disagree with what you said, and here's why. And I might learn something. Like, there's no ego attached to this. And I think that's the biggest difference from my style to like your typical motivational speakers and the ones that we had when I was younger.
Yeah, and that's fantastic to hear, and I definitely agree with that. This is why, and so I really wanted to do this interview with yourself, because like out of all the sort of speakers and all that sort of I had through like high school and all that, like I felt like you really stood out to me because I liked your sort of comedy and stuff, but then you were also real. Like I felt like you were just sort of like everybody's mate. You were just sort of giving them sort of like, sort of a hug round. You weren't sort of like, I'm gonna scare you straight, or I was like dropped off a plane and then I zoomed up to space and now I'm gonna tell you that your GCSEs are good. Like, you felt like it was real, and that's what I really like. And something funny enough I learned about a year ago, like I knew this anyway, but sort of you see it really in action. I ended up doing some work experience as a TA, funny enough, in a secondary school. And I basically realized and stuff. I think even one of the teachers there even said to me, like, you realize that what makes the kids sort of more learn more is when you're not just sitting there being like, here's what I did here, pointing at a board. It's making them laugh, being like, you get this piece of work done, we can then do a funny game in 10 minutes, or
Right.
it's keeping them engaged. And I feel like you are the king of that when it comes to motivational speakers.
No, I really appreciate that. And actually, for your listeners, that is great context of how did we even meet? Why did this come about? And
Oh, oh yeah, we didn't even explain like sort of yeah.
no, yeah,
So basically, about 2017, I was in like year 9 and stuff. You had come in and stuff. I Because usually you do big hall ones and stuff like in a school hall or whatever. I think this one was actually in a classroom, and it was like it was part of your Aim Higher campaign and stuff like that. And you were sort of speaking there, and I just remember thinking like, this guy is like so awesome. Like sort of, I'm loving the stuff you're doing. And then I actually realized that I think I've then had one of your things a couple more times. I've got a surprise. If I can get it up on my phone quick and stuff.
oh,
See if I can
I'm
get
excited for the big reveal.
it. Oh, come on, Google Photos. I
Google,
just
you don't have to sponsor this podcast now that he's mentioned you.
This is legit from 2017, a photo I had with yourself. I
No
honestly found
way!
it.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
That long ago.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. As if you still got that.
Yeah, what it is that because of Google Photos, it saves it online. So it's just every
Yeah.
time I sign into my account, it just had it. And I was looking through, you just nosing, looking through, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God, it's still got the photo. I was like, that's crazy.
Oh, that is amazing. Because wow. Because how many years ago was that? That must have been what,
uh,
5?
yeah, but you're coming up to 6 years ago now and stuff. So quite a long time ago. It's
Jeez.
mental. Like the passing of time, it's getting to me now. I'm
Wow.
I'm 20 years old and I still can't believe that. I'm like, I'm 20 now. It's like, oh my God.
Wow. Well, I feel old now because if you're feeling old and I spent 2 in year 9, then damn.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's quite funny because you also said about the thing with the Olympic torch, and it's mental to think that this year, London 2012 would be 11 years ago. I remember watching that live. Like, I thought, oh my God.
that's painful, man.
Yeah, you're gonna be 65 soon, man. It's coming up.
Oh, honestly, this time travels, and this is one of the things I'm trying to say when I go into schools and speak to young students. It's like it feels like your whole life has been spent in education, and you're going to be here forever. And it's just so not true. It's such a small blip in your actual lifespan that if you can use it properly, and using it properly to me means you spend time just getting to know yourself. You experiment, because when else have you got the opportunity to join a netball club, a football club, a chess club, and a debate club in your lunchtime? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, when are you going to be surrounded by that many people from so many different cultures and backgrounds? You get to know them. You get to know who you like, what you don't like. You get to get an idea of what your morals and your values are and what you're about. Then you get a freedom to try a bunch of different subjects and just see what you like, see what you don't like, see what you're good at, see if you can learn to motivate yourself to get through a lesson you don't like. Because when you get into real world, there's gonna be a whole bunch of things you don't like that you're going to have to get through, and realize that it's not all your favorite subjects all the time. You've got to do tax,
Mm.
and you've got to have a job, and there's going to be some parts of that job you love, customer facing, amazing, but then you're going to have to do a stock take, or you're going to have to, sit in a meeting and hear about your performance review and what you're doing bad, and you're going to have to be able to take that on and move forwards. And even if you start your own business, this idea that, I'll start my business, never work a day in my life. What a load of rubbish. I own my own business, and some days feel like work because there's serious work to do. It's not all standing on stage having a laugh. So I think school's amazing if you understand the ability, the opportunity that's there from a character development point. And then cool, get some grades as well, because it'll give you some options.
Mm.
Happy days. The grades to me are like 30% of what school gives you. So giving that full picture and letting them know like this, hey, he was year 9 5 minutes ago. I know because I was there 5 minutes ago. And now, you're growing with a podcast and a beard. It's crazy.
Yeah, oh, 100%. Oh, that's but yeah, no, it's true though. Like it's one of those things I realized probably about in my last year. Because you do feel like education, oh, it's lasting forever, and then I've got 2 more years now and stuff. And then I started to realize, like, really, like, oh, I've got like really start like I already have my plans for the future, but I think I was so seeing them in the future. I was like, I don't really have to care now. I don't have to think about this. But it was very quickly, I was like, oh no, I've got to start get because all I was going to have was my grades, and I was like, I've got to get stuff on my CV. I've got to start doing this, thinking about getting a job. I suddenly woke up to the fact of, yeah, life is short, and it's not just about education. There's more things going on in life, and so unfortunately and stuff, I was able to through like sort of my sixth form and all that, I was able to get some like work experience and stuff, and then some more work experience of like the school thing I was just saying about as well and
Yeah,
stuff.
nice.
I did some work experience as a journalist at my local newspaper, just
Nice.
writing match reports for football.
Awesome. Awesome work.
One of my dreams, honestly, was to get on the back page of a newspaper and stuff like that because I always read the sports sections, and I was able to do it with my name on there, which is like one of the biggest honors I've ever had. It
So cool.
it blessed my heart and stuff. But yeah, no,
That's it.
it's all about sort of life is all about, like you say, it's all about sort of looking at all your options, looking at, oh, I could do this, do that, and yeah, you've got education, that's great and all and stuff like that. 100%, get the highest grade you can, but don't
Might as well.
just settle for that. In it, it's look at all your other options. So you're definitely right, and when you say that. So now I'd like to dive and stuff into bit more of a fun question, going a bit off the motivational speaker thing, going talking about football and stuff, just referencing football. I
I
know that
thought
you
this might happen. I thought this might happen. So I
okay.
came fully prepared.
So you support Arsenal. Oh, he's got the top on
Right.
as well.
I'm ready. I'm ready for this section. All right.
Do you have anyone on the back?
You know what? I don't on this one. This one I just went
Oh,
straight. If I did have someone on the back right now, it would be Martinelli.
oh yeah. He's been doing really well at the moment. I was not really rating him, but he's doing really well.
Love Martinelli. Like the I've liked him for a few seasons because I could just see the potential from that Chelsea game where he sort of ran from the halfway line and scored. I thought he's got something. It's just taken a bit of time to be honest, get the right manager. And I think
Oh yeah.
Arteta's that manager who, like you said earlier about the thing of like feeling like an arm over the shoulder.
Mm.
I feel like Arteta's doing that. and it's getting the best out of these young guys. And I think Martinelli is actually the most exciting.
Like when you guys had Emery, I feel like unlike a sort of even like a Wenger to an extent and stuff like that, I just feel like Emery it was kind of just like Arsenal was another club. Like I couldn't imagine him being like, I love this club, whatever. He's just come from PSG and won the Champions League. Arsenal's
Yeah,
just another step in the road. You know what I mean? And I think that's why he never really connected with the club. But I feel like Arteta's part of the fabric of Arsenal and stuff like that. So I think
yeah.
you guys are doing well under him.
He gets it. He knows who we are. He knows what we're about. He's played. He's captained.
Mm,
He's. I think he did the FA Cup while he was there. Like he gets it. And I love recently the clips that are going around of him playing for City.
mm.
After Guardiola did his speech about him, of him, he doesn't celebrate. He literally, you see City score against us, and he sat down and he's like, "Yeah, cool," but he doesn't celebrate. Whereas against other teams, he's up. He loves the club, and I think getting him in was a huge risk. But at the time, it was like it just made sense. Like, what else are we going to do? Who else is there? We missed out on Pep when he was on his sabbatical.
Yeah. You probably
They didn't
weren't going
think
to get Pep
anyway.
anyway.
Yeah, he likes a big budget. There's no one else out there who makes sense. Like Thierry Henry would be like nice, but he's not qualified yet.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is that you could even say like, oh, get in Burkamp or sort of whatever, because I know he's got his coaching badges. But I think to me, it's like you see a lot of these. Yeah, they might have played for these clubs. It's the same problem with Chelsea when they got Lampard. Yeah, they might have
Yeah,
played for that club, but they've got to have managerial experience. Arteta was under arguably one of the best managers of all time. Not many people
that's
can say that. So yeah, no,
how he runs
100%.
the team. But he worked with Pep, and
Yeah.
Pep said he was valuable on the team. So it's not like it was an apprenticeship where you get different types. You got some apprenticeships that are brilliant, and you do the work. You got some apprenticeships where you're in the room. He got one of the good ones. He got the one where, yo, you're in and you're doing the real work, and then they value him too.
Mm.
And that's when you know something's there. When Sterling's talking about how much Arteta has helped him develop, not Pep, he's mentioned Arteta. It's like, okay, we got something here. So big
Yeah,
risk, love it.
yeah, and like, yeah, nobody can deny Arsenal's doing very well at the moment. But what I'd like to go into is, what do you think my favorite football team is?
Ooh, ooh. See, I don't think it's Man United because you've been too kind about Arsenal. United fans don't do that, so it can't be United. It's not Chelsea because they're a horrible team. It's not. I'm going just obvious big teams here. I'd say you've got a Liverpool, potentially a Liverpool vibe.
Is that your
Not
final
Liverpool.
answer?
I'm gonna go. West Ham's out of my mind. I'm going Liverpool. I'm going Liverpool.
It's not Liverpool, no, and
Is
it's
it?
not a top six team.
I'll say okay. So Villa.
Nope.
No, not Stoke.
No, oh God, no. I've
I
got
just
better things to do in
think
my
gee,
life.
where do you live?
um, to be honest, that won't help because my team's miles away from me.
Yeah, fair. Wolves.
No. All right.
Gee,
I'll try and give you a clue, but then this will be your final answer and stuff like that. So this be the final one. So my team is in the south. So my team I'd say is below Birmingham, so it's south of Birmingham. They've been in
okay.
the Premier League. They're blue, but they've like they are not currently in the Premier League, and that's all I'm saying. It could be a conference team. I could be that evil.
Birmingham's. It can't be Birmingham because you said below Birmingham.
Yeah.
Blue. Jeez, weird. This is where my geography comes. Wigan, south of Birmingham. Blue. Not in the Premier League. This is Peterborough United.
Oh, thank God, no. I'm not even lying, right? And stuff like that. I actually have a running joke where Peterborough, like I just say like if somebody says like, oh, what's the worst place to live? I don't even say my own place. I just say Peterborough as a joke. um, I'm just thinking, are you from Peterborough by chance?
I am indeed.
Oh.
Well, to be fair, born in London till I was 11. Moved to Peterborough when I was 11.
Hmm,
At the age of 20, was it 24 maybe? No,
hmm.
maybe later, 25. Me and my wife were like, we're done. So we're in Lincoln now.
Oh, nice.
I'm no longer a Peterborougughian, so I am fine with that. Who's your team then? You've got to tell me.
Okay, so my team is actually Reading.
Oh, that's annoying because I've got a friend from Reading and everything. I didn't even remind. Used to have. Do you have Kit? Was there a guy called Kitson there?
Yes, there was Dave Kitson.
For some reason, I really liked Kitson. Like manager made a buy him in, bring him to Arsenal. I just really liked Kitson. I thought he was going to be amazing. I don't know why. Completely random, but yeah, you say Reading, I'm like Kitson.
Oh, but yeah, no, I've
I
supported
respect
Reading
that.
now for about since about 2012. Funny enough, talking about 2011, or
Yeah,
probably even earlier than that.
I
Um,
respect.
oh no, sorry, not 2012. What am I talking? No, I got my first Reading shirt in 2012. I'm muddling up my stories. No, I've supported them since about probably about 2007 and stuff.
Oh,
It was through FIFA. Funny enough, I was just looking through the teams, and I was like, "Ha, Reading, that's a funny name," and it just stuck from there.
in fairness, if we were going for our first ever team based on football games, I'd be a Wolves fan.
Oh, nice.
Best logo, orange, my favorite color, and a wolf. I was like, this is my team. So I was Team Wolves for a little while, and then my household is Arsenal and Tottenham.
uh,
Dad's Arsenal, mum's Tottenham, uncle's Liverpool, brother's West Ham. It could have gone either way, but we signed my favorite ever player. You know who I'm talking about? Big
uh.
14,
Good old
Theo
Henri.
Walcott.
Oh,
Theo Walcott.
oh, oh! You're saying 14? I was like, but that was for Henri's number.
It was. Theo Walcott got it a few years later. Theo Walcott, my favorite player ever, and it never makes any sense to everyone. Everyone's like, "You've got Henri, Vieira, Bergkamp, Van." I'm like,
Walcott.
Theo Walcott, guy, man, was my absolute favorite player growing up. Absolute favorite player to this day. Theo Walcott, number one. Big fan.
Well, we was actually close to signing him and stuff very recently because he hasn't played for Southampton since like Feb, and he's now basically trying to look for a club, and we just couldn't agree wages and stuff. But he nearly was a Reading player.
Oh, that would have been beautiful.
Oh man, that would have been great. It's quite funny because my household is most of my family is basically Arsenal or Tottenham as well, but I just want it to be different.
I respect that. I respect that. And I'm not being funny. If faced with a choice between Reading and Tottenham, I'd pick Reading. So
Yes.
they've probably won about the same amount of trophies, possibly more for Reading. So
The sad reality for Tottenham fans. But anyway, this has been a fantastic interview and stuff like that. We spoke about football. We spoke about the fantastic work you're doing. If you haven't checked this guy's stuff out, you've got to go check it out and stuff. The final question I like to ask, and I feel like this is most suitable for yourself, being a motivational speaker. What are sort of like, if you had to give me the most important piece of advice you could, what would that piece of advice be?
oh wow. I think context is everything for advice. So I think my best advice is ignore generic advice. But I forgot with some. I think I've been trying to assess what's the most important skill there is. What's the thing that has allowed me to live a life where I just wake up and enjoy the work I get to do. And I think the most important skill you can develop is your communication. And I've got to that because I'm looking around at every opportunity I've ever had or every body I look up to and admire, and like, what's the common theme here? And it's communication. Why am I in a happy marriage? Having been someone growing up who hated the idea of being married and never wanted to get married, it scared the life out of me. And now we've been married for 5 years. Like, how does that communication? And it just feels like communication is actually the single most powerful thing a person can learn. So I think while you're young, if you can work on developing your communication skills, being able to speak well, being able to have a positive, strong presence in a room, being able to ask good questions, both of in podcast format, but also of potential interviewers, potential people you want to work with, potential customers. I think communication is the most important skill that you need to develop. Your spoken, your written, your non-verbal communication, your body language. My best advice right now would be take every opportunity you can to develop your communication skills so you can become a powerful, impactful communicator. And that's where I'm shifting my focus to moving forward in the future of actually just working with people to increase communication skills because we're missing it a lot. And the people who get it right soar. So that would be my piece of advice. Yeah. Own communication. Take time getting to learn how to communicate effectively. And I think you'll open way more doors because you'll be way more present in every room, way more not attractive to work with, easy to understand, and you are able to ask bigger questions that will get you into bigger opportunities because you can communicate effectively. So yeah, develop your communication skills.
Yeah, I definitely 100% agree with that. Like, I feel like communication is something that a lot of people don't really fit. It's sort of spoken about, but I think a lot of people more focus on, like, oh, be confident and go and grab what you want. But it's like, no, but it's about what are the building blocks to get to that. And communication it's how we can function as a society and stuff. That's why it's so important. So I'd 100% agree with you there. That's some amazing advice. But anyway, and so unfortunately, all good things have got to come to an end. Unfortunately, that's the end of this episode. I've had so much fun. It's been so great having you on. Before we go, is there anything you want to shout out very quickly?
Oh, to shout you, like to see you from being, this year 9 with no beard and just a general still trying to figure everything out to now like you've decided this is the thing I'm going to go into, giving it some focus, giving it some time. I just wish you all the best with it and hope that you do this long enough to see what would have happened. You know, for a while, get rid of the stats, get rid of the views, get rid of that. Who cares? Do it long enough to just see what would have happened if you kept going. When I look back at any project I've started, my biggest regret for a lot of them is stopping too soon and not being able to honestly go, well, I did it for 2 years and this is what happened. So yeah, my shout outs to you, man. Keep doing your thing. It's a beautiful
uh,
thing to
I love the self praise and stuff. It helps my self esteem. I'm joking.
boost it up, boost it up.
But anyway, that's you're actually paid, didn't you? You were paid to say that. That's a paid sponsorship, isn't
Oh yeah, I'm gonna send the invoice straight
it?
after this
We're gonna
session.
organize the PayPal.
That's it. Are you on LinkedIn?
Um, no, I had a LinkedIn set up years ago, but I just didn't really use it. It was just for a silly one, to be honest.
You gotta get back on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, it's very important.
You got to connect on LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn has been so helpful for me since getting on there with this podcast and like the kind of range of people you want to interview. I think LinkedIn would be amazing. So
Oh, 100%.
jump back on LinkedIn, and when you do, let me know so I can like share this episode out and all that good stuff. So be awesome.
So yeah, yeah, you guys should also set up LinkedIn. We're sponsored by LinkedIn now, but anyway,
A lot
but
of
no,
people owe
so
you money right now.
but anyway, though, like I said, so unfortunately, all good things got come to an end and stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Go check out Kamal. Go check out what he's doing. He's doing some fantastic stuff. And yeah, that's the end of this episode. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Peace out.
Right. Peace.